Everyone, welcome to the Don Lemon Show. A very special guest who you might recognize him. What's your name again?
Your worst nightmare. No.
How are you?
I'm good. The last time we actually sat down was at the convention, so it's been 2 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. A lot has happened.
Yeah. We're here because our government is in threat to shut down.
Yeah.
And is it a week?
Yeah, a week. The government will run out of money. Yeah.
Why? So my understanding is that the president agreed to a meeting with Democratic leaders and then canceled it.
Yeah. Stunningly.
Are we going to shut down?
Look, how do you, there's no way to get this bill done. They control the House, the Senate, and the White House. But the only way to get through the Senate is by getting at least 7 Democratic votes. I'm not going to give my vote away without them doing something in terms of negotiation or a compromise. And what are Democrats asking for is do something about the tens of millions of Americans who are seeing their costs go up, their health care become more expensive, or losing their health care because of the things that you've done. Donald Trump has been in office for 9 months. America is poorer and America is sicker or has less access to health care. So I've never seen like this. The other side won't even talk or engage with us, even though there's only one way to get this done, is it together. So for Donald Trump to cancel a meeting, for the Speaker of the House of Representatives to dismiss the House, to send them out on recess until after the shutdown date, is just stunning to me. And it shows me that they want to drive our country into a government shutdown.
What's the point? What is the point? I don't understand.
I mean, they have succeeded in bullying their way, stealing power. We see case after case going up to the Supreme Court because Donald Trump is being an authoritarian executive. He doesn't believe he's president. It seems like he's trying to be a person that takes all the constitutional power to himself. This is the process. You have to, both sides of both Article 1 and Article 2 branch have to do it together. Mm-hmm. But he seems to want to do it his way or no way. Mm-hmm. And that's what the problem is. He's got to be willing to negotiate.
I'm glad you mentioned Article 1. I saw Hillary Clinton on a morning show this morning discussing that, and it was a very interesting conversation. And she said everyone should get pins that says Article 1 and see if the Republicans wear it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'll be honest. I have private conversations with Republican colleagues sometimes where they point out that what they're seeing the executive do is not right. I've heard comments about the tariffs and the pain they're causing farmers. I've seen them comment about Hegseth not being qualified, or that you shouldn't signal out, put out on a commercial app battle plan.
But not in public. They won't say it.
But that's the point. They're not doing it in public. They're not calling hearings. They're not doing the job of checks and balances or oversight of the executive. And so if you're basically saying Article 1 will do nothing to check the presidency, you are literally undermining our constitutional framework and turning him in de facto into more powerful, demagogic, authoritarian leader. And so I know this. Jefferson said it so powerfully around the founding of our country. When the people are afraid of their government, there is tyranny. When the government is afraid of the people, there is liberty. Well, what happens when senators are more afraid of their government, their president, than they are of the people they represent?
Yeah.
That's the problem we have right now.
Yeah. The Affordable Care Act, the tax credits, I hear that is a sticking point. Democrats want that in there, and Republicans are saying no. Is that the main sticking point or a major sticking point?
I will be honest with you. I'm not giving my vote away for free. Do something on health care. There's a lot going on. You have these looming Medicaid cuts that they conveniently pushed out till right beyond the elections. Well, those are going to hurt millions of Americans. You made other cuts to health care before you even get to the Affordable Care Act. Will you restore those? Will you fix the Affordable Care Act? There's a lot of things that could be on the table, but we aren't even at the table. Donald Trump is refusing to sit down with us at a negotiating table. The leaders of the House and Senate are refusing to sit down with us. That's the thing that's surprising me. I've been here for 13 years, and when we do budgets, we do them in a bipartisan fashion. We have passed 3 bipartisan budget bills out of the Senate. They haven't gone anywhere else, but we've shown that we have the wherewithal to do bipartisan budgets. The American people should not see their government shut down, but this president and the Speaker of the House, by their actions this past week, seem determined to do just that.
They say that we can take this up in November or December, they say, get this done. But the problem is that open enrollment is what? Isn't it on November 1st or something?
Open enrollment is literally weeks away.
75%, some people will see 75% increase in their tax.
Yes, every independent arbiter that I've looked at said millions and millions of Americans will choose not to, they won't be able to afford it, so they'll fall off of having health insurance. But let me just tell you something about this. We can do it in November or December. Remember, we're operating already off of a 6-month extension. The last time, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Give us a 6-month CR and then we'll fix this. So some Democrats said, okay, we'll do it.
Isn't that like Donald Trump's in 2 weeks? Everything,
Yeah.
everything is in 2 weeks.
Yes.
I was listening to Molly Jong-Fast. I don't know if you know Molly Jong-Fast. And Molly Jong-Fast said that you guys should be asking for subpoena power rather than tax credits, because if you got subpoena power, then you could question everything. It gives you more leverage. You can question, Tom Holman or Epstein or whatever and have some leverage with getting what you want passed.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I agree. Subpoena power would be a profoundly effective tool to have. We need to get to a negotiating table. I understand there's a lot of opinions about what we should be negotiating for, but when you have a president and a Speaker of the House saying we're not even going to sit down with you, then there's nothing we can do. They're running this economy or they're running this budget off of a cliff.
Mm-hmm. I've seen this happen before, but this time, for some reason, it seems a little more dire than before, under Bush or Obama or Trump or Biden.
All the Washington watchers are saying the same thing. I feel the same way. It's because of the C's. What do I mean about the C's? Donald Trump is about corruption. He's about cruelty, and he is about chaos. This will turn our country into chaos if he continues to pursue this path.
As we're taping this the 24th, and we have until September 30th or 31st.
Yeah.
What are the American people to think? What happens if...
I'm hoping that this is one of those times where the American people, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, will say, this is dumb. Meet. Sit down. How can we have a government, especially when the stakes are this high, that won't even sit down and have a conversation?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Good to see you
always.
And I abided, don't talk about anything. But
Really? Are you serious?
That's what they said. I wanted to ask you about.
I want to get
Kimmel,
into it with you again.
I wanted to ask
I
you.
want to get into it. We
can't talk to him about that?
But I've had some of the best
Are you still rolling?
experiences.
Okay.
I've had some of the best experiences. I still remember this. You don't ever know this. I came to see you.
We're going to run this.
I don't care if you run
Okay,
this.
all right, go ahead.
We do need to.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I do too. I have
One of my fondest memories is you and I had a conversation so heated. I get off the stage. It was about Biden. This was when he was still hadn't won the Clinton nominee. I get off your show. I don't know if I ever told you this. He calls me right away because he was watching your show.
He called me and said, I watch every night.
Yeah.
Was he mad at me?
He wanted to explain himself to me in a way that I found he was vulnerable, and in this time of Trump, you almost miss a leader that could say, maybe I got this wrong, but let's talk it through.
Right.
So he didn't call me up to yell at what I had said. He goes, I don't think you understand where I'm coming from. Can we talk?
Yeah.
It was powerful, but all because I sat like this and he was watching. It was pretty cool.
Did you watch Jimmy Kimmel's monologue last night?
I did not watch Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. I've obviously.
What do you think?
It was raw and it was real. It was raw and it was real. And what we're seeing right now is the thuggery of this administration that is trying to intimidate and silence voices in a nation that fundamentally needs the freedom of speech, or else our very democracy would be crippled. That's why it's the First Amendment, and our founders understood that.
Yeah.
So we have a conflict right now where you see a president determined to use any excuse necessary to try to silence his opposition and his critics.
Yeah. Very important question. Am I going to be invited to the wedding?
No.
The answer is no. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Cory Booker,
We'll give you some pictures.
Support comes from Ollie. You know these guys, Boomer, Barkley, Gus, they run this house. And let me tell you, if my dogs could talk, they would beg for Ollie. The tail wags, the excited little hops, the big goofy grins. That's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the picky eaters like these guys. We're talking human-grade ingredients made in U.S. kitchens. No fillers, no preservatives, just real food. And you can see the difference. More energy, shinier coats, healthy digestion, and yes, happier pups. Boomer's favorite? the fresh turkey with blueberries. Barkley goes for the beef with sweet potatoes, and Gus likes all of it. So honestly, look at their bowls sometimes, and when I do, I think, well, these dogs are eating better than I am, I think. So here's how it works. You fill out a 30-second quiz about your dog's weight, activity, and health needs. Ollie creates a custom meal plan, and they're the only fresh dog food brand offering unlimited routine health screening. So go to ollie.com/lemon, use the code LEMON, and get 60% off your first box with a happiness guarantee. That's OLLIE.com/lemon. Support for the Don Lemon Show also comes from Lean. You know, fad diets, juice cleanses, cabbage soup, all of it. You know about it. You lose the weight and then you gain it back, plus a little more. Well, doctors call that weight cycling, and half of Americans do it. It puts strain on your heart, on your liver, on everything, right? In your back. It's nuts. So that's where Lean comes in. It is a non-prescription oral supplement created by doctors, not one of those injectables that everyone is talking about right now. Lean targets weight loss in 3 powerful ways, okay? So it helps keep blood sugar stable. It helps control appetite and cravings. It also helps to burn fat by turning it into energy so you can lose weight at a healthy pace and keep it off. And if you have been frustrated by the lose, gain, lose cycle, and lose it and then I gain it back, you're not alone. Lean can help you break that cycle. So go to takelean.com/lemon and get 20% off today. That's TAKELEAN.com/lemon. The code is LEMON for 20% off.
I'm so glad that you're here. Well, at least my part of being live. So thank you for waiting a little bit. I had some very important meetings with lawmakers, and you saw I had an important meeting, an interview there with Cory Booker. And so we're glad that you could join us this evening. We have lots to talk about here. I'm actually joining you live now from the Capitol, the United States Capitol. And as I've been saying, we've had some really, really very important meetings talking about the issues facing Americans. Before we get to some of the stuff, I want to talk about a big issue that's facing Americans, and that's gun violence. As you know, there's a breaking news story today that happened in Dallas at a customs enforcement facility. Here's the very latest news, and they're already politicizing this before they even knew who the shooter was. They were doing it, and now they're doing it again. So as I am streaming to you now live from the Capitol, this is our breaking news. This shooter opened fire on a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Dallas. That was this morning, killing 1 detainee, critically wounding 2 others. That's according to investigators. Goes on to tell you that the gunman died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, left behind ammunition that bore the phrase, this is according to investigators, anti-ICE. It was written in blue writing. No law enforcement agents were hurt in the shooting, and the investigators released a few details. But officials suggested that it was a targeted attack aimed at immigration enforcement agents. Kashmir Patel, who is the FBI director, posted an image of the ammunition on social media, saying that an initial review of the evidence indicated an ideological motive. Look, there are so many theories and conspiracy theories online. People don't know what to believe in anymore. And judging from this administration, they really don't know what to believe in, because you never know when this administration is being truthful. That said, a little bit more about this breaking news. 3 people familiar with the investigation identified the gunman as Joshua John. One of the people, who were not authorized to speak publicly, gave the gunman's age as 29. So it fits the same profile of a young white male doing this. They are saying that he is liberal. We don't know for sure until all of it comes out, but if it is true, and indeed it very well could be, you know, Kash Patel, you never know, right? Then this is problematic, and it's going to be problematic for the left, even though on the left it doesn't nearly rise to the same level of right-wing political violence in this country. So they said the gunman was 29 years old. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that the gunman had opened fire from a nearby rooftop, describing him as a sniper who shot indiscriminately, including at a van in an entrance area where the victims were struck. And all of these things, I mean, even, you know, with the Butler, Pennsylvania and the Trump thing, on a rooftop. If you look at what happened just last week in Utah with Charlie Kirk, someone from a rooftop, these rooftops that are unsecured. And then this one across from an ICE facility, another person on a rooftop. The identities of the victims have not been released, but one of the injured is a Mexican national. That's according to Mexico's foreign ministry. Homeland Security officials previously said in a statement that the 2 detainees have been killed and 1 wounded before updating that information, but did not immediately explain the discrepancy. So the Trump administration is seizing on this, the right wing seizing on this, MAGA seizing on this, and of course conservative media seizing on this. This happened moments ago on Fox News. Watch.
When you say it. And it has become too common to hear words like that. And that is a both sides problem. And last week we went through the litany of times that Donald Trump has used that rhetoric, and the fact that he came out after Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination and said the radical left did this, and then we heard a chorus of "we are at war." And that does permeate the entirety of American society, that they hear that from the top. We don't know
garbage.
that much.
That is absolute garbage.
It is
Continue. When something terrible happens,
Greg,
when somebody gets murdered, you are saying, how dare you be enraged by it? Continue.
No,
I'm done.
what I say is, how dare
There is
you
no, I'll give you the both.
blame
No, Jessica, I'll give you the
millions of
both sides.
Greg, why don't
I
you
agree
let me
with you.
finish?
There
We
is
did
both
this
sides.
just a week
On
ago.
one hand, you have the hard left, and on the other hand, you have the left.
Why are you
They're
yelling
both
at me?
sides of the same coin. Because you walk into this room and you're not reading it. There is no both sides. You don't have the evidence for that.
That's not true.
You
Who
can't
shot up
say
the
that Donald
CDC
Trump
and
says
killed
this.
someone?
You guys act on
You
it.
also-
You guys act on it. We don't. What do you want?
What do I want? I would like to talk about the specifics of who Vance Bolter actually was, since we fought about that last time, because you make it out as if this was just that he knew Melissa Hortman.
Let's focus on this thing now. I'll destroy you on that later.
So obviously he wants it to be political, doesn't want to hear the other side. If the evidence does pan out, then it may be exactly what the head of the FBI said, what Kash Patel said, what Kristi Noem said. It may be exactly that. But as I have said, people don't know what to believe anymore. What's real and what's not. We're going to discuss that in just moments. But I just want to play some of the things that are being said, at least from the officials as well. This is the ICE deputy director talking about the shooter and who the shooter targeted.
When they're here illegally, shouldn't have been here illegally, but they didn't deserve to be executed.
Absolutely. They didn't deserve this at all. And, there's a Justice Department for a reason, and they'll go through their due process. But somebody chose to come in and kill these detainees as they were being processed.
Are they processed like hourly? So if you're sitting up on the roof, you're probably going to see a couple of vans out during the day?
Absolutely, and especially in the morning. A lot of our operations take place in the morning. It's when we see a high traffic area. And the situation could have been much worse if there was even more detainees, even more ICE officials at the facility as this person decided to throw rounds into our facility.
It's unthinkable. You're just going to work, you're doing your job.
That is just awful that would happen. Let's get into the conspiracy theories of it all and what to believe, because this is coming from folks who are very influential. The conspiracy theories, let's be honest, are coming from people in our government. You guys know that. They're coming from the highest office in the land, and and not just conspiracy theories, but what's true and what's not, what's real and what's not, what's reality and what's not. People don't really know at this point because we have a vacuum of truth, reality, and fact from the Oval Office on down through the Republican Party and through MAGA. And I feel that some of that has rubbed off, much of it has rubbed off, especially with young men, has rubbed off on what I call, instead of QAnon, right, which is on the right, I call it Blue Anon. And that is from folks who are on the left, now believing in conspiracy theories, not knowing what's real and what's not. It's because of our very our siloed media. It's because people, especially many folks who are in streaming, who are in these digital spaces, they don't really have to worry about facts or truth. It doesn't matter to them. The more unfactual that they are, the more hyperbolic that they are, the more they spread untruths, the more they spread conspiracy theories, the more popular they become, the more popular their programs become. I'm going to play some of these. Now listen, I want to be very clear, these are conspiracy theories. I just want to give you an example of what people are saying so you can understand the problem that we have right now. This is from a Blue Anon TikToker talking about the shell casings. He has no idea. He's not a journalist. He's just watching social media and coming up with his own ideas about what happened. Here it is.
Some bullets that were on the roof and everything, and it shows anti-ice on these bullets that were not engraved. There are a lot of people saying that these bullets were engraved. They're not engraved. They're just, written on with a blue pen, and it says anti-ice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but every single protest, every single video I have ever seen on any social media platform, it's always been F-ice. Not anti-ice. I've never seen anyone once ever say anti-ice on or in a protest or in a video or anything like that. So something's definitely not adding up here, especially because every single individual that ended up getting targeted was an undocumented migrant. Let me know your thoughts in your comments, because if it was anti-ICE, why would they have not gone after ICE? Why did they go after undocumented migrants? Let me know your thoughts in your comments, because this is not adding up, you guys.
Okay, so there you go. No idea, but just conspiracy theories abound out here in this streaming wilderness land, without facts, with no editorial standards, just getting more clips. I want to put this up. This is a Blue Anon TikToker as well, saying that this is obviously fake. Now, I've seen people say that this was fake. They said they didn't believe about the shooter in Utah. They thought that was fake. They said, who texts his entire crime to a girlfriend and then turns himself into his father? They don't believe that that's real. And so those are just the people who are online. Do we have another? I think we have one more conspiracy theorist, Andy, if you will. I know we have a delay. You can roll that one.
I'm calling another FBI cover-up, guys. The bullets today found with the ICE shooting from the sniper said anti-ICE on them, but he went after immigrants. So you're telling me you want me to believe that the FBI didn't find the bullets after they knew the immigrants were shot and inscribed them themselves? This is red flag all over it. Another cover-up incoming.
So there's that guy, right? So they don't believe it. But you know what? It's not just them. It is people who have huge influence in the political spaces, huge influence in the media, especially streaming media. I'm going to start with two people who one name you will definitely know, a very bold name, and then other person you probably just become familiar with. So the first one I'll start with, spreading conspiracy theories or giving information that they're not even sure is factual or not, definitely their opinions, but still adding to this ecosystem of what's real and what's not, and people don't know. So then they choose to believe whatever confirms their own beliefs or their own political ideology. So here's Nick Fuentes.
And these were basically the three theories. These are the three theories as they stand, is lone gunman, Groyper, and then some sort of Israeli conspiracy. And I, like you, want to get to the truth. I want to understand who killed Charlie Kirk. I want to understand if there was a conspiracy, who was involved. But I, like you, also start with the evidence. When you believe there's a conspiracy, when you believe there's a cover up or something like that, you start with the facts. You start with the evidence. And the things to me that stood out as evidence that this was some kind of a plot or conspiracy had very little to do with foreign government and actually had to do with the forensics of the attack. Like you said, maybe the most damning thing is the bullet. If it's a 30-06 bullet caliber, this guy from relatively short range is being shot, you would expect that you would see a much more graphic video than what we saw. Like I watched your show about this. You shot hogs with this kind of caliber bullet. It goes right through them, one in one end, out the other. And this is a significant animal versus being shot in the neck, which is, of course, a much smaller cavity, by such a large bullet from an even shorter range. Why did we not see, and, we don't want to be insensitive about it, but why did we not see a lot more blood? Why did we not see an exit wound? Where did the bullet go?
Well,
now,
to be
initially,
clear, it's not just a big bullet. It's a super magnum. It's going 2,500, 2,600 or faster. At 200 yards, it's still at maximum velocity. So you're talking explosive when it hits.
Size, velocity, exactly. Just none of the details are adding up. That caliber, that rifle, the velocity, the size, the range, but also then with the video we saw, it just doesn't really work. And people had questions about it. And to tell you the truth, I was skeptical because I'm not a ballistics expert, and I think a lot of people aren't. And I was willing to entertain, if the FBI had an explanation, I was willing to hear what that explanation was. Well, then we get Andrew Colvett, who comes out last week, and he says, based on evidence apparently that he received from the attending physician, from the surgeon, he says that he was authorized to say, and it was shared with him, that the bullet miraculously stopped because Charlie Kirk's bone density was so healthy and so strong that it stopped the bullet in its tracks and prevented other people from dying. And, that's where you got to pump the brakes and say, wait a second. Is that really the word choice we want to go with? Magic
that's
bullet.
when I pumped the brakes Saturdays, when I went, okay, now we've got, and then TVUSA is calling me, their spokesperson, saying, well, let me give you the full story. But yeah, this Man of Steel thing, that's when I was like, whoa.
Okay, so that's Nick Fuentes, who's out there speaking on Alex Jones' show. And Alex Jones is one of the biggest conspiracy theorists out there. Alex Jones was sued, I think, and lost billions of dollars for insulting and coming up with conspiracy theories about the Newtown shooting of children dying. And so they are on his show just trying to figure out what's going on. No investigator. They're not law enforcement agents. They are not forensics persons. And they're just out there talking about it. And the people who follow them, millions of people, by the way, millions who follow both of them, they're going to start believing these conspiracy theories. And that's how this stuff gets spread out into the ethos and out into the zeitgeist. And perhaps this in some way influences these young men who are tuning in to these streaming shows diligently. Perhaps it's influencing them to do things that they should not be doing. So he was talking about Charlie Kirk's death. Candace Owens, that's the person, you'll definitely recognize her name. She speaks to this alleged witness of the Kirk shooting who cast doubt on the government's account. This is an alleged witness, is all alleged, all of it. Here it is.
He was a very much, and maybe this is a poor way of saying it, a straight shooter, said, yes, I have training, and I don't want to give too many identifying details here, but this person himself has a lot of experience with guns and knows guns and, helps to train people in that sort of a capacity, and said that they observed that individual, the FBI saying that the shooter dropped onto the roof at 12:15 didn't make sense to him. He said earliest it was 12:22. That the individual ran across, set up, took the shot. And I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage. And the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shot. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of what the shooter looked like. And it was not the description that the entire world received less than 24 hours later of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear and he was wearing a face mask. And he said, according to him, and like I said, he has a lot of experience with guns, that this person looked to him like a foreign agent. I don't know if he's wearing all black, how he got that, but he said he was very certain that this person was skilled, knew exactly what he was doing, and was highly trained, like a highly trained assassin, so to speak, okay? He then says something else. As soon as George Zinn got arrested and that started circulating, he ran to someone on campus and said, this is the wrong person. I observed this person with my eyes. You have the complete wrong description. The person you're looking for is wearing tactical gear and is obviously young because I watched him sprint back after taking the shot. I saw this with my own two eyes. And for whatever reason, that never made its way out that we can see of a description of a person wearing tactical gear. We're kind of left with this idea that he was wearing the now infamous.
Okay, so enough of Candace Owens. So anyway, again, this is all hypothetical. They're all just guessing, and they don't know. And the reason I'm playing this, the reason that some folks are saying, why platform her? Because I want you to see what is happening and why some of these folks may be influenced and just how dangerous it can be and some of the information that's out there. It's really sad. And as I said, some of it's coming from the highest office in the land and the highest offices in the land. We're going to hear from the Vice President of the United States, not only on some of the theories that he's spreading, some of them, well, I'll let you decide, but also the hypocrisy that is J.D. Vance. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from Mint Mobile. Do you procrastinate? I did. I kept paying big wireless way too much until I heard about Mint Mobile. Now I pay just $15 a month, and right now they've got 50% off unlimited premium wireless for new customers, okay? Same network, same speed, same reliability as the big guys, just smarter. My team uses it, and the quality is crystal clear, unlimited data, no headaches. It's easy. Keep your phone, keep your number, bring your contacts, and pay $15 a month for 3 months of unlimited premium wireless. Don't wait like I did. Head to mintmobile.com/DonLemon and start saving today. That's mintmobile.com/DonLemon.
So thank you to our sponsors. Now, I want you to hear, this is the Vice President of the United States. I want you to hear his rhetoric, and I want you to tell me if you think that it is productive. This is J.D. Vance, when what he's saying was a left-wing extremist, talking about the shooter today.
This country in the last couple of weeks, and that was true maybe until this morning, because I don't know if you all have followed the news, and we're still learning a little bit about it, but what we know is that in Dallas, Texas, an ICE facility, an Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility, was opened fire upon by a violent left-wing extremist, a person who wrote anti-ICE messaging on their bullets, and there's some evidence that we have that's not yet public, but we know this person was politically motivated. They were politically motivated to go after law enforcement. They were politically motivated to go after people who are enforcing our border, and I think that is the most disgusting thing. The very people.
So here's the thing. Usually, in America, the president and the vice president are usually comforters, right? They try to bring the temperature down. Not this administration. We usually call the president the comforter in chief. Not this president, and not this vice president. At every turn, if they can spread a something that they think is going to demonize their opponent, if they think it's going to be beneficial to MAGA, if they think it's going to increase their chances of being reelected or getting their bills through, or that MAGA is going to love them even more, then they will do it. They are drunk with ideology, blinded by the ideology, their own ideology. Now, this is the hypocritical part that I told you about. This is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, I don't know if J.D. Vance has ever met Donald Trump in his life. Donald Trump has called people all kinds of names, all kinds of fascists, all kinds of sons of bitches. The words that come out of his mouth, he wants to grab women by the pussy. I mean, all of this stuff. And he has the nerve to say, we have to stop calling people names and we have to stop demonizing people. This is him.
If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
So there you go. Now, I just want to show you guys this. He's like, stop doing this. Stop doing that. We have to stop demonizing our opponents. This is J.D. Vance, where and this is a long thing, but at the end, he ends up wondering if Donald Trump is America's Hitler. Those are his words. Now, when you compare someone to Hitler, what are you saying? Basically, you're saying that they're a Nazi. Now, he compared Donald Trump to that, and now he's saying you got to stop calling people Nazis. The nerve of J.D. Vance. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. And then he says, how's that discouraging? But I want you to listen to, keep that up, Andy, because I just want people to read this, because J.D. Vance, his ideology, when he did this, I think this was back in 20 or 21, I forget when the exact date that he put this out, or that he tweeted this. So this is J.D. Vance, and he says, but I'm not surprised by Trump's rise. And I think the entire party has only itself to blame. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education white people. And I have been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something, in all caps, and hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class black people in the process. Or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? Does J.D. Vance sound like a progressive in that text? And now all of a sudden he is true blue MAGA and all in favor of getting rid of people's due process and demonizing opponents and blaming people of color for stealing jobs from white people. I'm not saying that. He said it at the very first press conference. Remember the planes collided in Washington, D.C.? He said something of that nature at the press conference about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That was J.D. Vance in that tweet, and now there is a new J.D. Vance. Will the real J.D. Vance please stand up? Will the real J.D. Vance please stand up? And here he is, past comments on Trump. Might be America's Hitler. Might be a cynical a-hole. He is cultural heroin, also noxious and reprehensible. Maybe J.D. Vance should take his own advice, because he's not even criticizing the people who are on the other side of the aisle. He's criticizing the man who's running the party or who's in his own party. But that was J.D. Vance then. But the J.D. Vance now is someone who people says wears a lot of eyeliner and has no backbone and doesn't care about people. That's the word on the street about J.D. Vance. My question is left-wing terrorism on the rise? Because every interaction I've had with people who have texted me or contacted me about what happened in Dallas today is that they said, my God, this is not helping. This is not helping. Why are people doing this? These people don't have ideologies. They're just people who have mental issues, and they should not have access to a gun. That's the real problem. That's the real issue. And also the real issue is what we just reported, what I just reported to you. Conspiracy theories. People don't know what to believe in. They don't know who to believe in. And that is one of the main major dangers of Donald Trump and MAGA, is that they don't care. They flood the zone with bullshit. In the meantime, your country, our country, could be shut down in 1 week, which is why we're here in Washington, D.C. 1 week. This is the 24th. By the last day of this month, guess what? The government will shut down if they have not made a deal on September 30th. If they haven't come up with a continuing resolution or something to fund the government, depending on where you work, are you going to get paid? Are you going to be able to get the health care that you had before if you were on the Affordable Care Act? Because they're fighting, as you heard Cory Booker said, they're fighting for the tax credits that go along with the Affordable Care Act. And if those expire, people's medical bills will go up by 75%, or could go up by 75% if that doesn't happen. These are very serious things. These are very serious times, and we need people to be serious about making sure that we have a democracy, a country, and quite frankly, a workforce, people who are able to pay their bills and get a paycheck come October 1st. So if you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, you can go to donlemon.com. Check out all of it. Everything you want to know about the show is right there. And so I am in the nation's capital. I'm doing interviews. I'm going to be live here at the Capitol a couple days till the end of the week. I'm going to be interviewing lawmakers, and you're going to want to hear from them, because this is where real journalism happens, with independent media. And as a matter of fact, you'll see me later on a couple of independent journalist shows. I'm going to make appearances with Joy. I'm going to go with Michael Fanone and Jim Acosta. So what did they used to say back in the old days? Check your local listings. We'll put it that way. Do you remember that? Check your local listings. And then tonight, back in the old days, remember, if you're old enough, you remember this. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? People in here are laughing. So what I will say to you, though, especially considering what we have witnessed this week, especially with linear television and corporate media, I always tell you that you can be informed without being inundated, okay? And until I see you back here at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning, live from the nation's capital, 10 a.m. for Hot Topics, turn the TV off.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you